sitting down with me. So let's go with the band news. Let's start with the band news. How is it going? What's happening in your life?
Well, going really nicely. We finished like recording the album a couple of months ago already, so it's done, and it's going to be released in the fall this year, and well, we're quite happy about it, how it sounds, and unfortunately I can't tell you the labels yet, but the news will come in a couple of weeks.
Okay. How do you feel about the new album compared to the old stuff?
Well, the last album, Post Monument, was kind of it was in the space atmosphere quite a lot, and kind of was in the cosmos zone at some point. Well, of course, it's still spacey because Oranssi Pazuzu sound is quite psychedelic and influenced by space a lot. Now it's maybe more microcosmos.
Okay,
that's
going back
into
to Earth?
Yeah, coming back to Earth and checking out more living things and inspired through that. And it's not as, because the last album was a concept album, now it's a bit more loose. It doesn't have a like that specific theme, but the microcosmos is a pretty good word for that.
Did you keep the same way of composing music, or you brought in some new people or new stuff to make changes in this sound?
Well, we still make the songs quite much so we have an idea. It doesn't have to be a specific idea in a riff, or maybe it can be just some certain atmosphere, which is the most important thing in our songs. It could be some idea or some scenery that we like, and then we start jamming towards that, and then check out what comes from it, and then get excited about something that we already did and try some new stuff, and just go from there through jamming basically. But some of the songs are more strict in a way, and some are longer that have more kind of jamming things, and like before there are some parts that we don't know how long they are when we start playing them. Then they develop little by little, and then just go to some place that we are not sure.
How long is the longest?
Yeah, or
how long is the longest song on this album?
It's something like 16 minutes. So it's the longest song we've done so far.
Interesting.
And it's kind of a bit more organic, maybe. In certain way, although we haven't been in a proper studio actually before this. We of course have had like proper equipment and all, but we've done last album we did in a summer cottage in the middle of nowhere. Now we were in London with Jamie Gomez Arellano, producer, and in a really nice studio, and tried some new things and new approaches, and it worked perfectly, I think.
What do you hate the most about the album so far?
Sorry?
What do you hate the most about this album so far?
Well, of course, there's always something.
Exactly, that's why I'm asking.
Some really small things, because when you start looking at your own piece of music, it's like, it can be like, you can compare it to painting a picture. You start looking at it like this, too close, and then you see all sorts of things that you don't like about it, and you kind of lose the focus, the whole picture. But that's why you have to do, at least for us, it is good to do things pretty fast, so we don't get caught up with some stupid stuff that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
When we talk about the music, it doesn't matter.
As far as I perceive the band, you have quite a dark atmosphere, yet there is life in the music. It's a bit of a contrast altogether. What do you think is the secret behind this combination?
Well, I think we mostly try to make the songs and albums kind of realistic in a way, because of course life has lots of dark sides, but still, it's life. It can't be all dark all the time, and there are things that grow, and evolution, for example, is one thing that we get inspiration from a lot. And well, even though it's kind of brutal and dog-eat-dog world, it's still, there's lots of beauty in everything. So
It's
you
nice.
can't ignore that beauty.
It's nice that you managed to find it because not everybody finds beauty. Do you think we are alone in this universe?
Well, I personally think that there is probably life in some
necessarily
place,
like
but not
us.
necessarily like us. I think it can be pretty far away from us, or quite similar at least in some way. But the scientists are like the universe is getting bigger like all the time. So if we compare it like 20 years ago, it was quite a small place, but it's like scientists are checking out more and more stuff, and it would be kind of really weird if this would be the only exception. Although, yeah, mostly it's lifeless, I bet.
There's a lot of bass or deep sounds in your music. Why?
Well, most of us listen to lots of kind of electronic music, and for example dub and stuff like that, and they have a kind of deep bass, and it's kind of, it gets you relaxed, the deep bass. And of course we listen to lots of doom and stoner and stuff like that, so I guess, I don't know, at least for me, the bass makes me somehow relaxed. Yeah, you can feel it here.
Yeah. How did you end up playing with the light bulb? Not you, but and in Romania.
Ah, yeah, the light thing.
One of you guys played with a light bulb.
I think this is actually something that I remember being mentioned in few articles about that show. Yeah. And it was actually because our guitarist Moit forgot his light.
No way.
So in the warehouse there was a light bulb. So sorry to spoil the thing, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, I like people who improvise like that. That was a cool thing.
Yeah, he had to have that sound, and yeah, there was a light bulb. So.
How did you guys manage to gather together? Because in order to put up this kind of music, since you're not following just about anybody that I know of, how did you meet together with the same mindset to make this kind of music?
Well, most of us go back a long time with like playing together, and also being friends together a long time, and kind of well, having the same mindset. It's been always around, and of course when you spend time with certain people a lot, you kind of start to also imitate them psychologically. So I think it's because that, and also because we've always talked a lot like about the philosophy of making music. So the music actually, at least at some point previously, it has been more that we sit and drink maybe beer and then talk about some scenario that we want to do musically, and then when we go to rehearsal space, then we kind of just play because we've been already like through how we want it to sound and about the idea, and then we just play. So yeah, but it's important to play with people with the same kind of mindset.
You can't just change somebody, it would be hard.
Yeah, it would be kind of
anybody in the band,
impossible.
Because you need a history.
Yeah.
To come in the music. I saw you live in Romania. It was hot.
Yeah. Really.
But you still had your uniforms, right?
Yeah.
And you were boiling, I bet.
Yeah, it was fun.
Why don't you give up your uniform? What do they mean to you?
Well, for me, when when I go on stage, I kind of have a more theatrical version of myself going on the stage, and it's the costume thing. It's kind of a ritual where you kind of get into a role that is you, but it's more theatrical, and you can express stuff freely without any limitations from real life,
even
so
if
to
you
speak.
boil.
Even if you boil, it's just an hour.
I had a lot of respect to see that you survived until the end of the concert, because they're heavy, right?
Yeah, some of them are quite heavy, and but it's an hour.
It's a part of the show. Do you have your own ritual before going on stage?
Well, nothing specific, but I need to get certain concentration level before that, so I'm usually pretty quiet all day before going on stage. Not that I would be really nervous usually, but it's just a kind of starting to get focused on the thing. So that is a ritual in a way, and also when we go on stage we perform sort of a ritual. So, but nothing too specific.
Okay. What's your biggest fear when it comes to playing a live show? What are you most afraid of?
Well, it's always the electronic things, if they like break or
you have a
if
lot of
they
those.
last. Yeah, and because there are lots of pedals and stuff, you need to kind of something might go wrong in that department. So that this just spoils the mood for me if something breaks. And even though if I get it on pretty quickly, I have to concentrate again. Things.
Yeah. What's your? How much do you improvise live?
Depends on the song, really. We usually do at least one whole song. We did one in Romania also that it's completely improvised.
Okay.
So I think that if I remember correctly, it was right before the last song we did some sort of improvisation. Depends on the show and the atmosphere.
Who dictates? Is it you who's, or just come from everybody?
We just listen to each other, and when, for example, if Ontto, bass player, plays some idea that I can try to continue this somehow, and then maybe he listens to me, and then the space department is always the other guitarist and keyboard player there on their sort of own spacey level all the time. So at least me and Ontto and Korja, the drummer, listen to each other. We've been also playing a long time together, so it helps. We kind of sometimes usually kind of guess what the other guy is trying to do with this, and with some riff or thing that he's playing. Yeah, it's really nice. It's something that brings lots of more interest for us also in the live show than to play the older songs through. And of course that's also nice. It kind of brings new edge to every live set.
What's your favorite effect when you play guitar? What do you like to use most?
I use lots of delay. That's probably, I have two, so...
Do you use too much of it?
Maybe sometimes.
Did anybody complain that you use too much?
Yeah, bass player sometimes.
What do you do beside music?
Well, I teach some guitar, and also kind of help young bands with their demos and stuff like that.
As in like an advice?
Kind of like almost like musical producing.
Can you produce?
Not necessarily in the studio, but before going to the studio and stuff like that. So I basically work on the music field.
How's the metal scene in Finland then? Because you probably see a lot of it.
There's really interesting things going on underground. For example, in Tampere, where we come from, there's Darkwood Horizon. We're good friends, and I guess we kind of belong into that scene. Also, and Mr. Peter Hayden and smaller things like that. But I think mainstream metal scene in Finland is really fucking boring. I can't find it draws attention, but I think because the people say that Finland is a heavy country, for me it basically just means that okay, there are some mainstream metal bands that sell quite nicely, but I think all the good stuff are happening underground still.
It tends to be like that in every country,
Yeah,
I guess.
I think so too.
That's why it's called underground.
Yeah.
But there's people supporting it.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool. And
it's not gonna die too soon, like people say. Underground never dies.
No.
Do you think your music inspires happiness or sadness?
I think it, of course, it's quite dark and maybe some might even say depressing. But for me, at least, when I listen to, when I'm depressed or pissed off or anything like that, getting negative emotions, I can't listen to reggae or anything like that. So I think when people listen to our stuff, they're feeling not necessarily about anything specific, but if they're like feeling depressed and pissed, they will feel better when they know that okay, some other people who make this music also have the same kind of feelings, emotions, distress, whatever. At least that's how it works for me. If I listen to some really depressing music and I'm feeling depressed, I feel better when I know that okay, some people are sharing the same kind of emotion. So I think it works kind of like that way.
Yep, I know the feeling as well.
Yeah.
Where do you think happiness comes from?
It's a difficult question.
You don't have to think. You don't want to.
It's just it comes from life. It's part of life. You can't go around your whole life feeling like only the dark feelings. So I think happiness is a contrast to that. So yeah, of course, it's also brain chemistry.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
evolution
answer
designed something like that, so that everyone won't kill each other or.
Well, we do that.
Yeah, we do that, but
Very happily.
some people don't kill each other or themselves, and I think it's because happy emotions.
Let's hope you're right about that. Why do you choose to play in Finnish?
Well, Ontto, who does the lyrics, of course, his mother tongue is Finnish,
Yep.
and that's the language we can express ourselves the best. Also for me, because I'm singing them, the lyrics, I have to get into the mindset of the lyrics to do something like that, and I can't properly think in English. So I think it would water down something if we did it in English, because it's not our mother.
So you put more accent on the music being natural rather than trying to play in a language just for the sake of.
Yeah. I think it's important for the expression to like really get into the mindset of lyrics and the whole song. And that helps. And if it would be in English, I think there would still be, of course, that expression, but it would water down. So.
Is there any English on the new album at all? You try to?
No, it's Finnish.
What would you have loved to do, but you don't have the time or the talent for?
Sorry, what was it?
What would you have loved to do, but you don't have the time or the talent to do it?
Well, at least painting is something.
You suck at painting?
Yeah, I really suck at painting. It's really suck at it. But I always love watching other people's paintings, and it's always, I think it's closely connected to making music, the whole painting thing. And I even though I don't know how to paint, I like to compare making music and get lots of inspiration from paintings and visual things altogether.
What do your parents say about your music? Or your family for that matter?
They've been always really supportive about making art, so
That's very nice.
yeah.
Do they listen to it?
They listen to some of it, and when watching live, I think they even like it.
That's cool.
But
It must be important to get support from the family, I guess.
well, at least it used to be like when I was, of course, younger and,
Yeah, when
and
you started.
supporting like that, and yeah, it kind of is still nowadays, of course.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I've been like listening lots of Jimi Hendrix when I was younger. My father's
That's quite
violins,
delightful.
which I've like stolen later on. Now that my dad doesn't have a vinyl player anymore, so I kind of stole his original Hendrix albums from the 60s. So yeah, might have to give them back at some point. But yeah, really supportive always.